What's up, plant lovers? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my favourite plant care products that I just can't do without, and also giving you some tips on how to keep your houseplants healthy. So the first thing I want to share with you is these coco coir blocks, and I buy these in little blocks like this when I can get them. They're really cheap. This one was just a couple of pounds, and then you add water to it and basically it expands. And I use this as a base. I then add to it orchid bark, and it doesn't really matter which brand. I've tried all sorts, and depending on the plant that you're potting, depends on how much you want to use, but generally for most kind of plants like aroids, I tend to use kind of equal parts of this. And then the third ingredient I use is perlite, and yeah, I just generally use equal parts perlite, orchid bark and coco coir. Unless it's a succulent, then I will add more perlite and some horticultural grit or sand if you can get it. But for a general purpose houseplant mix, I find the mix of orchid bark, perlite and coco coir to be a really good, well draining mix. The next product I can't do without is a liquid fertiliser, and I just use this one. I'm not recommending this one specifically to you. This is just one that I can get hold of locally, so this is the one that I use, and I just use it as directed because unlike kind of normal traditional soil mixes, the coco coir generally doesn't tend to contain any nutrients, so you do need to add those in. So yeah, I just use that as directed, and I generally don't fertilise during winter unless the plant is still growing. If it's still growing, then it's fine to go ahead and fertilise. If it's not, I generally don't. But you certainly don't have to get this specific one. Any houseplant feed will do, as far as I'm aware. When I first started with plants, I used Miracle Grow. It seemed okay, but I've since moved on to this. I did use Baby Bio for a while. I found sometimes that one caused kind of a bit of leaf burn. So yeah, this one though, it seems fine. The next product I'd highly recommend is these microfiber cloths. And again, any microfiber cloth will do, it doesn't have to be any particular brand, but these are absolutely brilliant for dusting the leaves on your plant. You can use them to wipe the dust off. I sometimes wet them too if I feel that the plant needs to be cleaned in that way, or you can just use them dry just to take the dust off your plants. But I generally have quite a few of these, and then they are reusable too. I just throw them in the wash, so that's good for the environment as well. But yeah, always keep the leaves of your plants clean, because if they've got a layer of dust, then it does hinder their ability to photosynthesize and grow. Another product I always use all the time is rooting powder, and I always use this when I take cuttings. I just dip the end in it, then I place it in my desired medium, water, soil, whatever it is you're using. And yeah, this is, I think, more for kind of keeping the bacteria out. I think it also has a hormone that helps the plant to root, but if you can't be bothered to wait for your ends to callus over, which I certainly can't, this is a good option to dip your cuttings in before you plant them or put them in water, whatever it is you're doing. The next product I'm going to recommend, this is one that I always keep on hand, and in the UK this is called Surgical Spirit. In the US I believe this is called rubbing alcohol. It's the same thing. This is great if you want to apply it directly to mealybugs, or you can dilute it in water and dish soap to make your own insecticidal soap. In fact, I actually prefer this to neem oil because neem oil smells horrible and it can leave a sticky residue. This stuff is much better and it smells nice, at least to me it smells nice. But yeah, I've always got this on hand, usually a couple of bottles. As I say, it's great for diluting. Or another product I'd recommend in conjunction with this is cotton buds. You can just dip these directly into this and apply them directly to a mealybug. Say if you only have a few mealybugs, then it is really good for killing those on contact. You can also make a spray bottle and spray it on your plants, and this is really great for, yeah, unaliving those pests. And with that in mind, another product that I use a lot is this pressure sprayer, and this is really good for not only for cleaning leaves with just water. Sometimes you just want to give your plants a clean. Some plants aren't suitable for taking in the shower. This is really great for that. It's also great for adding your insecticidal soap solutions to, and you can just spray it directly on there. These are really good. You do have to pump them up with a little pump here. And I have to admit, sometimes it makes my arm ache, but I think it's worth it. It is really useful. If you find yourself unsure of when to water your plants, a moisture meter can be really helpful. You can just stick your finger in the soil and see if it's wet. I tend to do a little bit of both because just to be sure. And the other thing about this is to use a moisture meter correctly. What I tend to do is I test 2 or 3 different areas of the soil rather than just one. So some areas could be wetter than others. So that's just a little tip for this. But I tend to kind of put my finger in the soil and see if it's still wet, and then I will use this as well just to make sure. Just because I'm kind of paranoid and anxious and I don't want to overwater my plants. But these are really great for beginners and experienced plant parents. It doesn't really matter. They're just great for giving you a little bit of extra assurance that it's time to water your plant. Another thing I'd recommend you getting, really simple on this, but some gardening gloves. Some plants, they have toxic sap, so especially if you are taking cuttings, you're doing propagating or you're pruning, then it's a good idea to wear gloves. And yeah, I like to wear gloves anyway. If you've got sensitive skin like me, I always wear them because I have super sensitive skin. But yeah, I always keep a couple of pairs of these on hand. Another thing I'd really recommend is these sticky traps. And I actually only just bought these today. I literally got them maybe a couple of hours ago. And this is what gave me the idea for this video, because I've not tried these before. You just stick them into the pot and they catch fungus gnats. And literally the minute I stuck my first one into a plant, it caught a fungus gnat. I had not even finished placing it in there yet. I hadn't taken my hand off it and it caught one. And it's catching them really good. So I thought, wow, these are great. Lots of people already use them, but if you don't, then you may want to try them. They really are really good. They do work, I can say, and I can see why so many people like them. Unfortunately, they do look a bit garish because they're bright yellow, but you know, if you need something in the battle for fungus gnats, then sure, these are going to really help. So, and it stops them from laying more eggs in your soil, basically. So it's not going to do anything for the ones that are in the soil that haven't hatched yet, but as soon as they hatch, they fly out. Hopefully these catch them, and then they at least can reproduce and make more. Another thing I use loads of, glass containers. I bought these ones, but you don't even have to buy them. You don't even have to spend any money. Just recycle the old glass containers from your kitchen. I just like to buy them because I like making it look pretty, but yeah, you don't even have to buy them. I'm sure most plant parents are probably the same as me in that they hoard glass containers, but yeah, these are really useful for propagating in. So this next tip is how to spot pests effectively, and these are my tools of choice when looking for pests. This is a torch, it's a wind-up torch, so it doesn't take any batteries, and this is a magnifying glass. And what I will do is I will shine the torch and I will look through my magnifying glass. And that is how I check for pests, because a lot of pests, they're really small and you can't actually see them very well. So I've found that this is a really excellent way to spot them. And the magnifying glass, this is just a cheap magnifying glass, the type of thing you would buy for your kids to play with. I think it was £1, but honestly it works. And in conjunction with the torch, you don't always need the torch if you've got good natural light, but sometimes with some plants, you know, you really want to get in there with the light so you can see all the nooks and crannies. Honestly, this is a really, really good way of spotting those pests. And the earlier you spot them, the quicker you can treat them and the more chance of you saving your plants. Thanks so much for watching today. I really hope you found this video useful. Let me know in the comments if you learned any new tricks that you didn't know already. And yeah, if you found value in this video, maybe give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more from me. And until next time, guys, thanks for being here, and take care of your plants and take care of yourself.